Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Leapink. This is Psychic Predictions by Eric Leapink. And last night, I had a vision. I had a vision that a spirit whispered in my ear, earthquake. Then it shifted to show 7300. Then I turned around and asked them, where's the earthquake? And they said, in the clusters of earthquake already happening. Morning. So that's the prediction. Unfortunately, I looked at the map to see where are earthquakes happening, where are the little baby earthquakes happening, and it's both places that I have a prediction to. There's a California earthquake, San Ramona, San Jose, Santa Clara, all of those areas, San Francisco. And then there's another one in Chile. But both places have that fever. There was a 6 point something earthquake in Chile. And there's been a bunch of cluster smaller earthquakes in California. But we're expecting a big one. We're expecting a very large one. So brace yourself. If you're in California, prepare. I would also ask that when this prediction happens, that we share the video, that we get that information out there for the next one so that we can alter this nightmare or the next nightmare, whatever the case may be. But people need to know this earthquake is coming. Let me give you my analysis of 7300. In my head, 373 is a reference to the California prediction. The California prediction reads, 3 is key, 3. And then it shows little American flags. Woohoo, America, woohoo. And I would remind you that, what is it, Monday? Monday has President's Day. Monday we will have President's Day. So everything in my head is pointing to California. The other option is Chile. That one there would only be because of the clusters that are happening in Chile. Either way, one of the two is about to happen. That's the main thing. Okay, who's in Stephen, you're in San Jose? Okay, well, let's make sure you have a table to get under, buddy. I also want to point out a couple of other events around the corner while I have you on this live chat. First one, we're expecting Donald J. Trump to be in a hospital at some point within the near future. We're also expecting the ruble to fall, to collapse. And when it does, that's the end of the war. It doesn't happen that quick, but it sets the tone for the end of the war. According to Spirit, the ruble collapses when the common man cannot pay for his house. With Putin raising the prices across the board, that's due. You're going to have situations where just your basic Russian person is like, I can't afford my house anymore. And when that happens, everything starts crashing. Okay, what was the other one? Oh, that's right. Finally, some good news. Epstein. We're expecting people to go to jail. I mean, it's a delay, but they showed like the millionaire is going to jail. So those are the messages. Let's talk. But I just wanted to make sure I get this out there. Oh, The other thing is the 0, 0 of this earthquake coming. We have the earthquake either in California, San Jose area, or the earthquake in Chile, right? 7300. The two zeros could be one of two things. The first, they're saying in 2 days. That would fit perfectly with our little flags. The second is that there's two earthquakes. And that definitely seems very concerning. That two earthquakes will happen back to back. These are the concerns I have. How is everyone? Steven, how are you, buddy? Okay. That sounds bad. I wish I was in a better position to help you, Eric. That sounds bad. I wish I was in a better position to help you, Eric. Well, thank you. But I'm good. Just share the video, get the word out there, help me get this word out there. That's the key. I think I am so obsessed, so utterly obsessed at this point over breaking through, over finally predicting an event that says we can crash through it and alter the world. And little by little, I can see it starting to happen. I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting closer. I mean, the audience is much larger. Everything is going in that direction. The spirits are moving into this space where we're just going to predict the immediate future coming, and it'll be small messages moving forward. So I'm excited with the direction the whole thing is going. I'm excited over how we truly can alter tomorrow's future. With all the predictions that we've made, all the events that we predicted this last year, it's looking very, very possible. And not only that, but they actually predict. They show the dragon, right? Where's the dragon at? Where's my dragon? Well, we got the mini candle dragons. They showed the dragon, the image of the dragon, but it was a full-fledged dragon. And he comes down, and it's water. That's the main thing. So I'm going to guess we're talking about weather here. And he just, for the first time, he breathes fire. So that there kind of symbolically represents that, yeah, we are about to shift the tide. Does anybody have any questions? Welcome, Dallas. Hi, Jackie. Okay. Can I ask next? Hi, Eric. Hi. How are you? Any questions about the world, guys? While I have you here? I just wanted to make sure. Poland. Oh, yeah, that's right, Poland. Yeah, that twit's going to attack you. It's going to be like, with the France, when I think it was in Poland too, where he attacked transportation places, railroads, airplanes, things of this caliber. He's not going to directly attack Putin. I'm talking about Putin. Putin's not going to directly attack Poland, but he's planning to do something that'll be, I didn't do that, but he did. And it's obvious that that's what he did. If anything, in the image, it showed transportation for Poland, but then there was also a sense of they showed train tracks. So either way, I would caution you, Poland, on circumstances. He is going to strike like a little viper. It's very annoying. I mean, and he has a real beef with Poland. What's up with that? So, yeah. Hi, Eric. I hope you are well. Any idea? Yeah. Hi, Eric. I hope you are well. Any idea how the military one might come into play? I think it's a bit obvious right now. We need a leader in the United States that isn't red or blue. And I can see why we would hire this military figure, because it's like, okay, we need a leader that just represents the country. It just represents the core constitutional values of our republic. And so you kind of get the impression of a moderate, really, someone that kind of is in the middle of it all. In my head, that fits Kelly, because they always show him as the pilot, the famous, military pilot. But that could fit a couple of people. Kinzinger, did I say that right? He could also become the next president. For some reason, you you get the impression this whole thing is going to end before the next election. I do not see Donald Trump happening the whole year. Like, Donald Trump will not be president in the year 2027. Well, that's a prediction in itself. When does he go? And just an FYI, again, it's because he gets sick. It's not a political matter. I'm not saying, I'm taking a side here. A lot of it has to do with he's going sick. But you have the scandal. He's going to seize power. That's still happening on the 20th. And then you also have attacks, terror attacks coming in the United States. And everybody's going to be like, hey, wait a second. Like, you took away the FBI, you took away the CIA, and then you're attacking Iran, and now we have terror attacks? So there's a sense of that there, that fever of like, look what you did. You made this mess. And then the economy. The economy is getting worse and worse as we move along here. Like, I don't know why we thought those tariffs were going to be a good thing, but as you know, in 2019, we predicted that would be a very bad idea. Yes, we did. Will there be a false flag from NATO? False flag. Someone tell me what a false flag is. I'll come back to that question. Hey, Eric, what does the spirit say about Greenland? Yeah, he ain't getting Greenland. What I will say very loudly is the great empire of the United States is shrinking. I think that's obvious. And so are the other superpowers. And the two superpowers set to rise is, on one end, India. India is set to be like the superpower of tomorrow. But the other main superpower is a group, not NATO. They refer to it as the Nordic Alliance. And it involves Greenland, Iceland, and then all of the regions up north, from Poland to Norway, Sweden, even the smaller nations. And they all join forces together and create this system. But it's more of a military situation. It's like all their military, we're not going to be bullied anymore. We're going to unite as one force. And that in itself becomes a great power in the future. So I think you're safe, Greenland. Hey, there have been already train attacks. Yes. I think he's going to do something with that there. Or some sort of other transportation situation. So I'm hoping to get more details on that. But yeah, he's poking. And just an FYI, for everyone in Europe worried about Vladimir Putin invading Europe and conquering Europe, the guy can't even get past a city in Ukraine. Like, he is incompetent on a scale that, like, we're not worried about him invading Europe. They're not going to have enough soldiers to invade Europe. Like, it's not happening. Like, there's no way. But he is going to push that button. And that's very concerning to me, because once we push it, then we start pushing it again. And it's like, no, very bad. Where is the button fall? Everybody keeps asking me, where is he going to push the button? When is it going to happen? Okay. This one confuses me. There's two. Number one is they implied that he would use a tactical nuclear warhead on Ukraine, where wherever the weapons are kept, or wherever the weapons are held. There's a sense of like this weapon area. But then they threw this curveball, this total curveball, where someone had attacked either Moscow or St. Petersburg. It was a major terror attack. There was a crater and everything. Like the whole building was destroyed. And so they used a tactical nuke on the Stan region. Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. I don't know exactly where it was, but this is how blue rises. This is how the terrorist blue comes to be who he is. So that also unfolds. Yes, I thought it could be Senator Kelly. Yeah, Senator Kelly would fit the perfect orbit for me because he's been in space. Like I could see them looking at the space like, woohoo, pilot, I mean, we call them astronauts, right? But I could see the spirit seeing it that way. You skipped the question about the hurricane. Oh, I did? I'm sorry. I don't see any question about hurricane. Hold on one second. Good morning. I'm not seeing Miami. Do you see a hurricane this year? It doesn't work that way. I mean, I have this flashlight now where it's next. The hurricane predictions won't come out until we get to the springtime. Usually around springtime, we start unleashing all the hurricane predictions. So I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. We'll have to wait and see, but I am expecting it to be a rough moment. They actually make it sound like it's actually 2027 specifically. They already marked it and said, yeah, there's going to be a lot of flooding on that year. Like it is, that year will be just, I can just say, the floods will happen here. It's going to happen, right? That looked like something out of Noah's Ark or something. It did not look good. Okay. Hi, Eric. When does the spirits? Okay. Do some of these countries put safeguards in place against tyrants after Trump, Israel leader Putin, etc.? Yes, is the answer to the question. It's a system set to rise and change this world forever. And it dictates that our leadership will lead, but the power is ours. Try and imagine a world like that, where we're the ones with the power, right? All of the people are the ones deciding the power. All of the people are the ones holding that. And the leadership is only there to be a representative. That's a shifting tide coming. And it's coming because of these circumstances now, where, in my opinion, the core problem is if you look at Xi Jinping, if you look at Vladimir Putin, if you look at Donald Trump, they have too much power. They have too much control over the world. Like, in what universe does, say, Putin get to threaten all of us, 8 billion of us, with his weapons? Like, no, there is one Putin and 8 billion others. He doesn't get to do that, not in the future. That's not happening. I don't have time to explain how this new government operates, but I'll just leave you with one very important key on how it would operate. We're all in groups. So take, for instance, the media. Reporters, newscasters, are all together as one around the entire world. Think about that. It's like the gigantic union or a gigantic co op, and they're all working together and establishing the foundations of what they expect. This is ours. We control this piece. We're in charge. So when you have a dictator like Putin saying, listen, media, you're going to do what I say. They're going to be like, no, sorry, there's this group behind us, the rest of the world. And they said, no, sorry. And they challenge, some leaders do challenge this in the future, only to have this group, these large co-ops. And it's not just the media, it's the doctors, the teachers, the artists, they all have grouped together to unify and represent what they truly believe in. Right? This is their craft, and no one else gets to touch it but them. So think about that. Like they don't have like the media moguls of tomorrow. No. It'll be the media people in charge, and they will dictate the terms to the moguls, mainly because of the power they hold. It's the whole group, so they can easily say, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. President, I got this note from everybody else back there, and they said, we're not doing this. So that's just a taste of things to come. But yes, the situation gets very fixed. What does the spirit say? Okay. Okay, let me just go back to, do some of these countries put safeguards in place against tyrants? When this organization forms, one of the very first things they do is, as a world, they decide, yeah, from moving forward, our leaders will be given a test. A test! Yes! A test that says, do you know everything about your country? A test that says, your mental capacities are fine. A test that says, your medical body is fine. You have to pass the test to even become a leader in this future. Like, can you imagine? And the spirits made the point, like, if you're operating the nuclear weapons, you have to take a test, right? Jobs that are doctors, like, they have to take tests to operate. So it's a bit silly that we don't do that for people that are running the world. That also happens. There have already, okay. AH assaulted a radio station along the border with Poland with Germany soldiers dressed in Polish uniforms. And okay, I'm sorry. AA assaulted a radio station along the border with Poland and German soldiers dressed in Polish uniforms and blamed it on Poland. Then they attacked Poland. What I saw in the vision, there were train tracks, but it almost looked like there was a building that was on fire or exploded, or something like that. Everybody pretty much knew he did it, but nothing was really happening. FYI, another thing that's unfolding that is a bit, I'm confused on how it will play out. But one of the reasons your leaders in Europe are actually ramping up their military is because they plan to strike back. They're going to do something that is also equally kind of secretive to Russia. It's like, we're tired of you keep poking with your drones and things like that. So they poke back pretty hard, and you see Mr. Putin very upset about it. Is there a real estate crash coming for Kashmir City, Pakistan in June 2026? I cannot speak to the real estate of Pakistan specifically, but I can tell you that Balochistan at some point will prevail. And when Balochistan prevails, it will take a chunk of Pakistan. And as anyone knows in Pakistan, Balochistan has the minerals, it has the wealth. on the ground anyway, underneath the ground. So it's a shifting tide that really sets Munir and his organization cracking and a new system rising. How quickly that happens, I haven't really determined. But Pakistan, you're about to get smaller because Balochistan definitely has a moment where it does prevail. Thanks, Eric. What is the future of Israel? The future of Israel really kind of happens in a sense of, unfortunately, it's like the war comes back, but it's blue, which is the tyrant blue. It's this horrible figure, this horrible leader. I predict them all: Trump, Putin, Razek, Netanyahu. If you read all those predictions, I predict. But there's this beast coming, this truly horrifying person, Hitlerish, Osama bin Ladenish, who just throws the whole world into chaos. I mean, he's just a very, very bad leader. So, and he has eyes for Israel. He has eyes for the United States. Terror attacks on multiple scales. So, unfortunately, it's not looking good. So, I'm sorry, Israel. That's what I'm picking up. And not only that, but they make it sound like it's pretty bloody. So, San Jose earthquake coming yet? Yeah, that's what we're predicting. We're predicting either an earthquake in the San Jose. I don't know about San Jose, but Santa Rosa. No, San Jose, Santa Rosa, San Jose, that region. Okay, so we need to prepare for that, or it's Chile, one of the two. Question: if a real estate crash happens, will it be going to be the best time to buy real estate? I don't know. I don't know Pakistan's real estate enough to answer that question. I have to be. When I do these predictions, I actually study your nation. I have to study where everything's at, who's doing what are the politics. Right now, I'm actually studying the politics in Brazil. So I actually have to learn it. It's very, what are the three lines to represent that you have the passion, that you need to know the knowledge of the situation, right? Learn everything about it, and then act, in my case, predict. But unless I'm familiar with it, I don't want to predict circumstances. Eric, will that Balochistan act going to happen in 2026 or later? No, it's happening now. Yes, it's definitely happening now. I think it's a slow crack. I don't think it's happening all at once, but they really do see this circumstance where, Balochistan moves up, right? And then you have Khans follow, the people that follow Khan. They're moving from this side and attacking Pakistan. Balochistan is using violent ways. I mean, they're using terror attacks, while the other side is using protests. And you really get the impression that this is going to, again, like Iran in a way, where the fall of the government is inevitable. So, and they really kind of make it sound like it does get. My question is, does it get replaced with the same kind of thing? But I don't see Munir lasting maybe another year at best. What happens to the blue leader after his rise to power? Yeah, that's a good question. Will he face a brutal end, or will he usher in the red leader? I actually do get the impression he ushers in the red leader, because it's kind of opposite. The tyrant blue is chaos. He's this prophet-like figure claiming to be, I am and he's got blue. I don't know why he's wearing a blue hat. It's confusing to me. And so there's a sense of he goes around claiming to be a prophet when he's just a terrorist, a horrible terrorist. But he has very unique skills with his tongue. How does he fall? I love this part. He falls because the real prophet shows up. Like it's almost like, oh, thank you, Cindy, for your very kind donation. But the blue prophet is there killing everybody, and then the real one is in the background, and the real one changes the Middle East. He changes Africa. He makes both of those places very successful, and so that his rise kind of throws off the curveball here because he's the genuine article, a real true prophet, and yet he doesn't really fit what a prophet's like. He's actually a fun, happy, very enjoyable figure. So that's how Blue falls. Is a more golden, truly wonderful human being comes into the picture and says enough of all this. And there's a real sense of he kind of rebuilds the system of the Middle East and Africa in such a way that A, it's prosperous, B, it's peaceful, and then the rigidness of all of it kind of fades. So that leader is coming a little bit later down the pipeline, I would say, in the later half of the century. But yeah, it's a good thing. It's truly wonderful how this figure rises and becomes. He's in all the images, he's kind of like he's an Imran, but he's kind of like a Bible thumper. He's kind of like, praise the Lord. Very, very, very religious figure. Well, he's a prophet. So, what? Okay. What years, decades will be important groundbreaking for AI revolution? I think it's going to hit us now. The AI is an interesting topic because it has such negative and positive things that come out of it. With jobs, of course, this is one of the most negative things that'll come out of it. Everybody's going to start losing their jobs. That's very unfortunate. The other negative thing that's going to happen with AI that I saw very specifically is what we have now, where you answer the phone. It's like, hello, I'm talking to an AI, and it's utterly incompetent. You're not getting anything. It's like, where's the person at? Oh, there isn't a person. Oh, okay. What kind of service is that? That also pops up, right? But there's a good side to AI that comes a little bit farther down the line when it's more older, I guess. And that happens more or less in the next century or at the end of this century. Human beings are led by emotion. Donald Trump's rise was based on an emotion. Vladimir Putin keeps everybody in fear, right? The thing with the AI is it's logical. It's based on a logical system. It has a logical base construction to it. So it's always sort of pulling us back in and saying, no, we need to be logical. Now, at some point, our AI turns into a teenager. Like somebody like Vladimir Putin will say, go destroy that nation, destroy it. And the AI will go out with its weapons and everything like that. And then in the middle of it, stop. Say, this doesn't seem like a very logical idea. We're not going to be doing it. Sorry. It's like, no. You AI, destroy that. Not doing it. Sorry. Good show. It's like a pouting little child, but hey, it's got a logical point. It doesn't want to ruin what's happening, right? So it's really cool in that orbit. And then, even though I just said it was insufficient, right? Later, as AI gets older and older and older, it becomes very efficient. The threat with AI is simple. It has to serve all of us. It has to be a tool for all of us. The other threat with AI is just having anything at your disposal. So that's going to be a problem. Anybody can make a nuclear weapon, like because the AI. I mean, they would have to have the stuff, right? But it's just going to show us now whatever we need to know. And there's an enormous transparency that comes with AI. AI turns around and says, "Hey, your leader, he's lying to you." So it's unique. Eric, is UAE a safe place to work? What about Singapore, Malaysia, or New Zealand? Wait, I gotta make sure of it. That's a lot of questions, buddy. Eric, is UAE a safe place to work? Yeah, I don't see any issues with UAE. No, I think with UAE, United Arab Emirates, um, I can't remember. You're supporting a war. There's a support for a war so that we can gain materials for the United Arab Emirates. I can't remember where the war is in Africa, but that doesn't work out. It does not play to any favor of the UAEs. It actually kind of makes things worse. Hello, Eric. So good to see you live. Oh, thank you. Great reading with Eric. Highly recommend him. Thank you. That's very kind of you. The readings are only $60 for 40 minutes. Just an FYI. Question. Do you see Europe rising and people from the North America and South America relocating to Europe? Do you see Europe rising? I see the northern half of Europe rising. I don't know what's going on with the southern half. I'd have to look. But like I said, they become their own little superpower in the future. Rising from the North America, South America. Yeah. One of the things that happen in the future is a shifting tide for the United States, where its focus, and I think a lot of it has to do with the immigration of the United States, but not just the immigration, but the population is shifting, where the focus of the United States shifts south. Like, how do we fix the border crisis at the United States? You have to work with the people that are in the governments that are running it. You have to make it work between the whole running continents. You know what I mean? That's the key. And so somebody figures that out, and it's more of a unified front between South America and North America. So, and they kind of have a very good relationship down the line. And then there's a push for the Americans to say, okay, we're kind of done with the dictators here, which you can already see him starting to do. So that's one of the shifts Trump kind of unleashes, is this shifting of tide over who's who, right? But that also comes with an understanding that the United States isn't the powerhouse it used to be. So that's what I would say. I don't know about. Okay, let's talk about relocating here. Immigration. Yeah, I don't know what to tell everybody in this whole world, but listen up. The climate change is set to really unleash horrifying floods. And the nations, Bangladesh, the Maldives, I'm trying to think here. What are some other places? But certain parts of Italy, they'll be underwater. And when that happens, all of those people are going to have to move. Now, this doesn't happen all at once. It's more of a year to year. You could see the water slowly creeping up. But yeah, I mean, you think you have immigration issues now? No, 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 no. Everything's going to be moving. Everything's going to be shifting immigration-wise. But it hasn't happened yet. So, I mean, some people relocating. Yeah, I'll be, in the future, it really seems very mixed. It seems like we all start mixing more together. even China, for instance. Like there's a sense of like you look at China right now and walk into a city and it's all Chinese people. That's not the future. The future seems to have a mixture like the United States does. So, and that's because of the circumstances that unfold with climate change. So everybody has to move somewhere. Um, Bitcoin. I don't know anything about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. What I would say about both Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it has an end date. I don't think it's right now, but at some point, the I don't know why we do this, controls the finances of the world. So it's actually a bad idea. We shouldn't do that, but we do it. And when it does it, it does stabilize the finances, but it also has a ruthless side to it where, oh, you can't pay, too bad, get out. Like there's a sense of it doesn't have that compassionate side that would fix things. But it does make the economy more efficient. There is a. When will we see the military leader in the USA? Yeah, I don't know. The military one is there when Blue is there. And I'm expecting Blue like soon. So something happens. Something in the United States happens. I think Donald Trump, according to the spirits, Donald Trump ends like Nixon. So that means he resigns. He quits. He gets sick. But in the prediction, he's kind of pushed out. It's like, okay, you're out. Sorry, not going to work. It's almost like we're either going to do this or you're going to resign. Now, part of me wants to believe that logical reality is that happens when we vote, when we have the elections, right? Because if there's a blue wave, which we're all expecting, he's a lame duck president. He has no authority after that. So I could see that unfolding, but I also feel like something else is coming. I honestly feel like there might be more Republicans that quit, and we might get a blue majority earlier than when the elections happen. Right? Something else is happening that kind of sets this tone. Now, my question remains is what happens to J.D. Vance? Does he become president? Because I'm not seeing that for some reason. For some reason, I'm seeing this military figure. J.D. Vance has a military experience, but I'm just not seeing the moderate in him. I don't see it. And it's clear in the predictions, whoever this figure here is not only a moderate, but kind of adored by the military. So it could be someone we haven't seen yet, guys. We live in Southern California in the desert. Will we get hotter? We live close to the border with Mexico and Arizona. The concern with San Diego, LA, that area there, again, because of climate change and the ocean warming up, hurricanes will start hitting California. Hurricanes will start hitting Europe. Hurricanes will start hitting more northern areas, so and more southern areas as well. That sort of it only happens here in the Gulf. It only happens over here where Japan is. No, now they're like ping pongs. They can go wherever they want to. So that's the concern I have over Southern California. But on the flip side, that gives you a lot of water. So there's a lot of water. No more drought. Question: are there big medical advancements in the next 5 years for the general public? Absolutely. Yes. There are major, huge advances coming in the medical field. Like, I would just love to talk about this for hours, but they show an image, and I'm about to make the video, where the spirits come in and they have a rag and they're like, we got to get rid of these four diseases. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. And they said one was AIDS, the other one was a type of cancer, and the third one had a more mental, like Alzheimer's or something. They didn't say which one it was, but four all at once, gone. And it has to do with a discovery where we control the cell. We can change the cell, manipulate the cell, freeze the cell. It's a whole new science that pops out. This in turn also makes them be able to fix us faster. That happens. Then we have the exoskeleton. That's another massive tool. All it is like a sheet. It almost looks like Wonder Woman. Like there's sheets that are on our arms or our legs. It was designed specifically for people that are handicapped so that they can walk. Like, man, there's no handicapped in the future. Everybody's they have to wear these metal plates. But very rapidly it turns into everybody wanting it. Like it's a cell phone. Like, I want it for my basketball. Oh, I want it for this. Athletes have it. The one group that has it the most is construction workers. So that happens, medically speaking. Then what was the other big one? But yeah, there's a third one. I just can't remember. I'm sorry, but three huge medical circumstances to just blow the roof off of everything and start having us live much older than we currently live. Like we celebrate 100. No. Get back to us when we're celebrating 200 years old. And then in a more distant future, it really takes off. Like we start living to be really old, and yet we look young. So yeah, medical community for the world is definitely shifting tides to really be something unique. Could the military one be Senator Kelly? Yes. I would have to say in my head, Senator Kelly, Kingsinger, I can't say that guy's name. He fits like a bell. I would put him at the top only because there was a very odd part of the prediction, the original prediction. In the prediction, he says he always wears a cowboy hat, but that's not to represent, he's got that again kind of implies Kelly, considering where he lives. But he's got the cowboy hat, comes from a cowboy space, and he's a pilot. That's what they say. Now, I say military one because my family is military. Everybody in our family is military. And a lot of them are in the Air Force. So there's a sense of, are they just using the pilot as an example? Or is he literally a pilot? And I think at this point, he's literally a pilot. So Kelly fits that, and then Kingsinger. But there's another option on the table, and that is we don't know who the military. Like we haven't seen this figure yet. We like it might be some general or something like that hasn't really popped up yet. In the vision, there's it's a special election. That's what they make it sound like. There's some sort of special election, and he's not considered to win, but he wins. I would love to see that. Yes. Some of the things in the future are quite beautiful. Like some of the things are truly awesome moments, like truly beyond. Like we start mixing the fruits. Like we take some sort of genetic and then we mix it, and all of a sudden there's this fruit in the future that everybody wants to eat all the time because it's a mixture of multiple fruits, almost like a fruit punch kind of product, and it looks kind of like a round. I think it was purple. It looks like a big grape, basically, but bigger. Another thing, real quick, going back, that was the other discovery. I got to go back to medical. Instantaneous, right? And this is AI too, but police. When the police come and say, "Oh, you're a suspect. Here's the needle. They have to poke them. And in that moment, they can find out. You're guilty. Yep. Your blood matches. Sorry. So what everybody waits for, the DNA testing and stuff like that? Yeah, like that. Do you see the weather in Canada going back to normal? No, I do not. I'm sorry, but no, it's going to get cold, colder and colder. Chem chemtrails. Just an FYI, we adapt. We adapt to the circumstances. Buildings are made larger to insulate us into these cold spaces. So expect Canada to start building more larger buildings. And then the hot places, the houses are underneath. It's like this, but there's a whole terrain underneath the dirt that's almost like a city. So we adapt to the circumstances. Even the hurricane places start to build these large hills that put the house up. So will it become like Australia? No, Canada gets cold and colder as time passes, with especially during the winters. But no, I don't see it becoming like Australia. Will global cooling experiments be successful in reversing or altering global warming? Global warming ends. It's a man-made problem, and it will end. The way it ends is, first off, it takes us to a very dark place. Like, where does climate change take us? It takes us to a place where your governments will be supplying your breakfast and your dinner. You don't get lunch. So think about that. That means no more restaurants, no more grocery stores. There's so little food that the governments now control it and are distributing it. That only lasts for a couple of decades, but still, I don't want that. That's the nightmare scenario that it brings. So it's not a good thing, but at the same time, it ends. It ends, and it ends on two fronts. Number one is science. They had this image of this large pole, and it had all these buttons and little dots on it, and you could see that there was some sort of chemicals inside of it, and they threw it in the ocean. It fixed everything. I don't know what that means, but something technological kind of helps out in this distant timeline. But the big one is the Earth itself. Again, not very ideal, but it unleashes multiple volcanoes at once, like all of them just start popping. And the sky turns cloudy with all of that smoke. I mean, it's just everywhere. I don't understand this part because that's carbon, but for some reason it fixes it, cools the planet back down, and then global warming's over. Global warming is not my first, like that, to me, it's not the biggest threat in the world. The biggest threat in the world continues to be these strong arm leaders that we want: Trump, Putin, Orban. These sort of like, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to keep you safe. That kind of a leader, and having the power to use that weapon, the nuclear weapon. We use it, and that place is damaged. Nobody's living there. So it's really kind of like you ruined it forever. I will say, at a much more distant timeline, it gets fixed. Like with all of the places that had the nuclear weapons dropped, it gets fixed. And I would add, how does it get fixed? Aliens. There's so much more distant timeline. Will Trump invade Canada? Trump's not going to be around much longer. I'm not feeling it. I'm not seeing it. It's too many scandals, too many circumstances. What we expect Trump to do in the near future is seize power. He is expected to seize power, and that kind of undoes things because the American people are like, no, we still want our Constitution. Thank you very much. Like, I think he thinks it's a wrong move on his part, because I think Americans still hold to the Constitution. They still want it. They don't want a king. They want the Constitution to be what it is. So it doesn't work. It kind of throws everything off for him. And then there's the scandals, which we already predicted. So no, I'm not worried about him invading Canada or anything of that caliber. And Canada, we're still your friends, even if Donald Trump doesn't like. I just don't see the American people supporting any of that. Will diabetes be eradicated? If yes, when? Um, the way they're making it sound like it continues to be minimized. It continues to be lesser and lesser of a threat. So I don't know about its end date. I don't have one. I'm sorry. Control the food supply and you control the people. I don't know if I would agree with that, because I think the people are going to want to eat and they're going to demand it. Like, and the system is unique. What they build in the future is unique, because when we run out of food, there's an immediate shift on fixing the situation. So there's an industrial food supply. They bring back the farmers that have been consumed by the industrial aspect. So then there's local farmers. And then on top of that, at the bottom is your backyards. All of our backyards turn into little farms. Some of us have tomatoes, some of us have chickens, some of us, like, everyone is growing food, because in this timeline, the temperature's too cold, too hot, and it keeps shrinking the food. So now we're all growing it ourselves and distributing it to everyone. So it's not that bad. But I mean, if it's growing in your garden, great. But at this timeline, it doesn't look like any type of control issue. It just looks like we need to feed the people, and that's what we're doing. If anything, there are huge technological advances happening at the same time, making the world a better place. So it's kind of odd. There's these technological growths. There's a new type of vehicle where it's almost like a slingshot machine, like in a tube, and it just, to where you can get one destination to the other in a rapid pace. But at the same time, we still, like, it's like COVID, right? Like we're on one end we're all fine, but on the other end we have this huge problem right in front of us. And that's what I would say, as someone that consistently gave you COVID, like I predicted in 2013, 2014, 2017, and then finally in 2019. We're doing the same with this global famine thing. Like, it seems to consistently pop up again. Like, it's starting to show that that's really going to be the major problem of tomorrow. Control the oil supply or money supply, and you control nations. Yeah, I got to push back on that one. Oil is not going, it's actually going to be the opposite. Somebody invents some sort of gadget that you can put in your vehicle. It has some sort of AI operation to it. I'm not quite sure. But when you do that, it cuts the gas in half. So they have that vehicle, and then they have this slingshot vehicle. So oil's standard is just, it drops. The value of oil is no longer gold, more like bronze or something. It still has value, but not the value it currently has, right? Because nobody's really using it as much. And so if anything, it's the opposite. There is a real concern over the fall of Saudi Arabia, the empire, because they're based on oil. Putin, that one too, Russia, all these nations that are, hungry, that operate their countries based on the oil, they're going to lose their position. And you kind of get the impression that the people have become kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but complacent with what they have. They have the oil, so we don't have to worry, So when that stops and the value drops, okay, what are you doing now? What job do you have? What are you doing to do for the world, right? And that's going to be a problem. And we flat out predict that the Saudi Arabia kingship falls, and unfortunately is replaced with some sort of military meanie. Will he be okay? Hold on 1 second. How does the warming of the ocean affect America's and Europe temperature? Yeah. The first thing that happens in climate change around the corner is some sort of event where there's huge damage to the ocean. I'm not quite sure how it all plays out, but the movement of the ocean shifts and really like mass death coming from the ocean. It's quite horrible. When that happens, the warming temperature in between, it fades away rapidly. So like I can say, well, this year I said, there's a freezing cold front moving from the top of the planet down, right? That's a prediction I made. I could say that every year, to where the cold gets colder and the hot gets hotter. And that's what we're expecting for Europe and the United States and everybody else. Will he be exposed during his office term about the deal with Putin, Trump on the Epstein files? Yes. Yes. I think there's too many people that it's just we want answers. We want to know what's going on. How is this happening? I think somebody like Massey prevails at the end of the day. So, and we get answers, but it's not going to be anything we like to see. And now they're predicting. They are genuinely predicting that some of the people in the United States involved are going to jail. Finally, some sort of justice here. So yes, he'll get exposed. You kind of get the impression of what gets exposed or what's being hidden is the financial aspect. Like, where is all the money coming from? And for some reason, that is one of the things that are redacted. So when that gets exposed, it's kind of obvious that, hey, you guys are all bad here. Okay. When will we have free energy machines in our homes like Casey suggested? Yeah, there's a new form. Oh, I totally missed this one. Thank you for asking that question, Raymond. There's a completely new form of energy, two of them, that is built. The first one has to do with something at the very bottom of the ocean. I think it's it's called, it's oxygen, but it's in a rock. It's like it's a very odd thing. And that becomes a technological energy that we use that is in endless supply. So it's cheap. So a completely different energy comes up. And then at the same time, our moon has some sort of what they refer to as white gold. It's some sort of material that can really add to the energy factor. And then there's fusion power. Fusion power specifically is underestimated. I think the fusion people get it, but that power will be used and it will magnify as time passes. Its ability to create power and energy grows and grows and grows and grows. So yeah, no, that's a wonderful thing that actually happens. Question: what's the future of Qatar, especially for people working business and real estate? I can't speak to real estate, guys. I don't know. I'd have to know the country. Qatar. I think there's a concern with multiple nations in the region when it comes to fresh water. I mean, we have Iran and their taps. Those people, the Khomeini, he didn't even take care of it. He's so concerned with his wars that he wasn't really concerned about the piping. But I have questions over how everyone is going to deal with the water crisis that's coming, fresh water crisis that's coming. Certain countries are being drowned, while other countries are not having enough water. Don't know which side Qatar is in, but the Middle East definitely has that moment that hits them hard with water problems. Finally, okay, guys, may I ask if the drug cartel is going to continue the reign of terror in Mexico? They are now close to the border. Yeah, aren't they? Oof. In the predictions, because Trump takes a more aggressive role against the cartel, there's a real sense of them responding like vipers. So the intent, from what I gather, is they flood the states and Mexico with more drugs. So, and it's just like, what are you doing? It's not entirely good news, but as the ice melts, as circumstances shift, we go back to that Nordic alliance where they now control the North Pole. Norway, Sweden, Latvia. I said that wrong. Sorry. All the Poland, all those nations are in charging the top of the planet now. Unfortunately, that's where the new drugs will be going in and out of, simply because it's easier. So whereas one end we're expecting a wonderful superpower to rise in that region, but on the other end we're also expecting a sort of Al Capone. So it's a shifting tide where you're getting your drugs from a different location outside of Mexico, and that really kind of pulls apart the system that is currently there. So, and just an FYI, how does this drug cartel, drug situation end? It ends because of medical advancements. It ends because we don't need them anymore. We have better medicines, better circumstances, so we don't need the opiates and we don't need this. That's how it ends. Like, no matter what, even I, at some point, like, I had this stomach surgery, most painful thing in the world. And they gave me very strong medicine and took it away. But yeah, I could see how you get latched to that stuff. It's kind of, ooh. So that's what I would say. But it definitely has a toll. And I honestly feel like it's going to be a slow burn downwards where the cartels kind of start losing power. What do you see for Ukraine? The war is ending. The war is ending. As soon as the economics happen to where it collapses, and they predict more or less a November timeline, it's over. Putin's lost. And if anything, I think people like Zelensky and the military there, they become a sort of military industrial. Ukraine becomes very military industrial. It becomes the place that sells the weapons of tomorrow. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but also is a sort of legend, like the Legend of 300, that movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but where it's like this small little group defeating the Persian army, right? And so you kind of get the impression that's where Ukraine goes. I do have concerns, great concerns over Zelensky being assassinated. So, okay. Please like and share. Yes, thank you guys. 300 Spartans. That's right. Thank you very much. 300 Spartans. Like 300 against the entire Persian army. And they prevailed, right? That's the way it's going to be seen with Ukraine, is you defeated this great armada. And it's kind of cool in that way. But of course, it's got all that damage, all that destruction. I think you can expect in Ukraine for him to take more territory, right? And then it kind of looks like he's winning, but no. Once the economy tumbles, that's it. End of story. Like you can't run a war without any money. So there's a sense of that's how it kind of ends. And I think the Ukrainians have figured that out. Just keep hitting the economy. And then all of a sudden, the people of Russia are like, that's it. You need to focus on us. Like, where are we at in this picture? The Russian people are going to be like, hey, what about us? And that will change the tide. When is open contact public? When is open contact public? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Is Iran going to be a safe place to travel after the regime changes? No, I don't know. I know that we have that prophet coming that makes everything wonderful and happy for the Middle East. I am waiting to see where blue comes out of. There's a part of me that says they did almost imply Iran, but that doesn't make any sense. If he's from the Stan region, then why would he be in Iran? There's a concern, and we're looking also at Bangladesh, but there's a concern about some sort of spiritual leader, some sort of like, oh, I'm a spiritual leader. Oh, it's like the Pope or something. Like he's a spiritual figure becoming the president or whatever you want to call it, the leader of the country. It does not work. It goes horribly bad. But we haven't figured out which nation this is. And this figure claims to be some sort of spiritual deity or something like that. So I will be looking into Iran more closely in the near future. We're expecting this French Revolution moment, which is already happening, but we're going to come back to Iran. Don't worry, you'll see some predictions coming out. Will aliens show themselves? Yes. That's a big yes. Yeah. There's a reason why I don't really, you can become a member. Everybody can become a member and see my more distant predictions, right? I don't post the distant predictions because honestly, it's about aliens. I mean, it's like there's several of them out there. There's not just one. So there's a sense of a lot of the future prediction talk about, these circumstances and things. So become a member if you want to see that stuff. It's very fascinating in the future, by the way. It's really cool, all the different things that are out there, all the different things in space that we're going to explore and share with you before it happens. Now that Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, one of the signs that will be hit hardest is Libra and Putin, and therefore all of the calamity, I can't read that last part, will hit him in full. There's an astrological moment unfolding. We go from the year of the snake to the year of the horse. The year of the snake was chaos. There was a sense of it was to deliver chaos. It was to make us sort of say, where are we going? Which way are we going? Oh my God, this is chaos. And at the same time, the old skin was being removed very viciously to where, for me, it was my parents. They passed away. And I moved to Chicago. So it's almost like the old is going away and the new is rising. The year of the horse is different. Is referencing more of a revolution on top of revolution on top of revolution because of these changing tides. I can honestly say, if we were to describe this year, it will be revolution across the board. The United States, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, China, Like, you're going to see massive shifts in who's running the world. Israel, Netanyahu will be out. Uh, um, Erdogan, he's getting too old. So there's a whole bunch of new leaders set to take over the world that will be completely different than these idiots that we have now. Okay. Things are bad in Russia already. There are many videos of rising in food prices and people are panicking. Yeah, I'm sorry, Russia. It's because they even predicted that global freeze. They made it sound like it would be a global freeze that kind of strike you. And that also was a part of the sort of this is when the war ends kind of a thing. And that's happening already, right? And yet he's not, he's just so focused. Putin's so focused on the war. He's not even focusing on the people anymore. Um, and may I just add, whether it be communism, socialism, democracy. This is the last message, by the way, guys. I do have to go do readings. Personal readings are available, everyone. Personal readings, where I can predict your future. And it's not dark like this stuff. It's actually very happy. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Hold on, let me read this. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Things are bad in Russia already. There are many videos of food prices rising and people panicking. Oh, that was it. So, one of the other things that changed that we all need, and it doesn't have to be about, what system you have, but one of the bigger changes that happened is listen, if the people do not like where this leader is going, there's a button in the future. I'm sorry, this one's not working. Here, take it back. Right? The people are in charge of the world. So they really establish these set of rules that say, yeah, he got too old. Retire him. And as long as there's a percentage of, I think 75, it has to be pretty high, 75, 80%. But if they all decide, listen, 80% of us says, you're not working out, Putin, you're not working out, Trump, you're not working out, G, then they have to go. So that's something that changes in the future where we are dictating the terms. So I think that's it, guys. It was lovely. This was awesome. Again, we're expecting a very large earthquake in either California, San Jose, Santa Rosa, that region, or Chile. But if I were to guess, because President's Day is around the corner and the prediction shows little American flags everywhere, it's going to be California. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. Please support the channel. Give those super thanks out there so we can alter the future. I take the money that you guys share with me and I funnel it back in and promote predictions right before they happen, right? So Balochistan, we promoted that right before it happened to say, hey, you're about to be attacked. And it got a whole bunch of hits, but we didn't change the prediction. The same with the Carolinas. We need to be able to alter the nightmares. Imagine it. If you share this after the earthquake happens, if you share it with everybody else out there, then the next time I predict an earthquake, we can help them. We can say, hey, guys, there's an earthquake happening. Let's get prepared. Right? And the same applies for storms and weathers, which is what they're predicting breaks through. The war stuff is harder because anytime I predict war, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, they throw it under the radar. So it's very hard to promote. Like, I tried to promote the Ukraine war and what was coming next, and YouTube said no. And I'm like, but I'm helping them. But it's like, well. So, but we'll have to share that when it comes out. We'll have to put that when it comes out. But for now, if you see one of my predictions as accurate, you just say, wow, that was really accurate. Share it. please like it, donate, whatever the case may be, because the more awareness there is, the more we can alter the timeline. And I want to alter the timeline. Okay, guys, thank you. Lovely seeing all of you. Have a wonderful day.